Good afternoon, and thanks to everybody for being here today on what is truly an exciting day for Western Kentucky University. WKU athletics and WKU football is important to this institution, and it's important to me as we continue our work here at the university to elevate the institution. We do that in our instructional mission, in our research mission, and it also extends to our athletics mission. I had some time yesterday to spend with Coach Helton and with his wife April last night, and let me tell you, I heard three things that are really important to me. Number one, he believes that coaching is teaching, and I never want to lose sight of that our young people need to be taught in this process, that we are going to return to a style of offensive play for which WKU has been known, and I'm very excited that we're going to move to that. And lastly, he understands the expectation is we will compete for championships, period. And so, Coach, let me say it's good to have you back, your whole family back here on the Hill. We're really proud. And before I turn it over to our athletic director, I just want to share one thing. In working with Todd Stewart for the past 18 months, I've learned that he makes the right decisions for athletics, even when they're hard. And so for that, thank you, Todd, for your courage, for your leadership, and I know athletics is in very good hands.
Thank you, Dr. Caboni, and thank you for your leadership, your guidance, and your support through this entire process. It's very helpful. It's a great day for WKU football. Very, very excited to bring Tyson and the Helton family back to WKU, back to Bowling Green. Before we get started, the Helton family is here in mass today, so Tyson's wife April is here, daughters Shelby and Presley, twin boys Cole and Clay, and April's parents Charles and Laura are here. So good turnout by the Heltons today. And as I'm sure you know, the Helton family is really a prominent and extended football family. Tyson's brother Clay, who he worked for 2 years recently, is the head football coach at Southern Cal. His father Kim has had a very distinguished career as a coach in both the National Football League and throughout college football. Sunday, when I met with the media, I was asked what would the criteria be for our new head football coach. And it's simple in some respects, but really what it came down to is we needed to have an excellent coach. We needed it to be a fit, and the person needed to bring energy to our program and instill confidence in our players. And I feel that this will happen across the board. From the coaching standpoint, Tyson has coached at 7 different places in 5 different conferences, and that's a unique versatility of experiences that I feel will serve him well. Certainly the 2 years he was here, the 2014 and 2015 seasons, were among the most dynamic in our program's history. It seemed like every week we rewrote the record books. It was truly an electrifying time for our program, and him being here with Coach Brom, it was a level of excitement that we had that was unique, and that certainly we need to get back to it. In 2013, when Bobby Petrino was the head coach, it was fortunate for me. I was able to observe Jeff Brom for that entire season and saw what a really crucial role Coach Brom played on our team. And it was almost like a indirect 12-month interview. You really could see how he interacted with players, how he interacted with the media, how he interacted with the community, how he handled game day, how he handled the locker room practice, game plans, all of that. And through that process, I became very confident that if Coach Petrino left, that Coach Brom will be an excellent head football coach. I share that with you because that's exactly how I felt in 2014 and 2015 when Coach Brom was our head coach and Coach Helton was his offensive coordinator. I felt exactly the same way because his role with our team in 2014 and 2015 was exactly what Jeff Brom's role was in 2013. Now, as you know, Tyson left to go join his brother at Southern Cal a year before Coach Brom left here. But as it's turned out, I really believe as we sit here today, the Tyson Helton that is here in front of you today is actually better than the Tyson Helton that was here at Western Kentucky, because if you think about it, the year he spent in the Southeastern Conference at Tennessee and the 2 years that he was at Southern Cal in the Pac-12, the types of players he was coaching with and against, the coaches he was coaching with and against, the challenges that he faced at those places, it's always a learning experience. And I think those experiences, coupled with what he did here, is what really makes him the perfect person for our job this time around. You know, from the standpoint of fit, could not be a more perfect fit. You know, Tyson was here for 2 years. The family lived in Bowling Green. They love living in Bowling Green. They're thrilled to be back in Bowling Green. And Tyson obviously knows our program extremely well and knows our conference extremely well. The energy part, he will bring energy to our program. The instilling confidence in our players, I think all you have to do is just see what players who have played for him, our former players, what they are saying about him, what his impact has been on them, and what his impact has been on our program. I think it speaks volumes for the respect that they have for him and what they feel about him as a coach and as a person. Every decision we make is in the best interest of our players, every single one, and I have tremendous confidence that this decision is not only in the best interest of our players, but also our program and our fans. So please join me in welcoming the 21st head coach in WKU football history, Tyson Helton.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. How we doing, guys? Everybody good? Good. I tell you what, I am so ecstatic to be your head football coach. You know, it's funny. I know it's a cold winter day out there today, but 2.5 years ago, I showed up in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and it was about 25 degrees. There was a little bit of snow flurries, and things turned out pretty dang good. So we're off to a good start. I like how we're starting. I like things to be the same that they were. So let me say this to you. I'm extremely honored and blessed to be the head football coach at Western Kentucky. This is a special place, a special university. I've had tremendous memories here. I think we are a very unique institution, a very unique community, and I think we're on the verge of something special again. So I'm extremely honored. Thank you very much. With that being said, I'd like to thank President Caboni. I had a chance to visit with him and his wife, Casey. Really is a fabulous, fabulous president. I share his vision for this institution, for this athletic program, for this university. It's kind of neat. I know he hasn't been here very long, about 2 years, right? Okay. You know, he's building something special as well. He's taking it to another level, heights that it hasn't been before. That is my job as your head football coach. My job is to win championships, and that's what I came here to do, and I expect that to happen. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'd like to thank Todd Stewart. He and I go back a long ways. When he contacted me about this job, I was honored and blessed to have the opportunity that he would think of me for this position. And he's a big reason why I decided to come back. When you have leadership like Todd, to give you the opportunities to do the things that you need to do to win, I think to me he's the best athletic director in the country. Wouldn't want to work for anybody else, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Couple quick thank yous. I know they can be long. I'm going to try to make them short. The first one is the love of my life. She is my agent. She is my pride and joy. She makes it all go around for me, and that is my wife, April. Baby, I can't do it without you. I love you. I know you will be a great head coach's wife. You will be great for this community, and I thank you for all that you do. I love you very much. Thank you. My 4 children, who Todd said were here, Shelby Grace, our oldest, and Presley, and Colin Clay. They're ecstatic to be back. They've had great fond memories here, and they're looking forward to some new memories as well. And I'm looking forward to Colin Clay getting a chance to run around on those sidelines and getting to do what they love to do. So love you guys as well. Charles and Laura, my mother and father-in-law, it's very special to have them here, and very glad that they could be a part of this. And then also my parents who are not here today, they are very special to me and like to recognize them along with my brother Clay. He has instilled in me a lot of great things in my life, and so excited to do that. I'd like to thank the former players of Western Kentucky, guys that I have coached, guys that I've made great memories with. They've been tremendous in reaching out to me, the excitement that they have. I was able to do the things that I wanted to do in my career because of those guys. They gave me the opportunity to move on professionally, and it's really special for me to come back here and get those guys back involved, and I appreciate those players and thank them very much. I'd like to thank a couple of the coaches that have been a part of my life. I'll try to be brief there, but the first and foremost is my father, Kim Helton. He is my favorite person in life. I grew up wanting to be like him. I watched him in his coaching career as a college coach and a professional coach and as a college head coach, and wanted to be just like him. And to sit up here today and have that opportunity as a tribute to him, he told me a long time ago, Tyson, you don't get it in this profession for the money. A football coach is an educator, and that's what we are. We're teachers of young men. And that's our role and responsibility here, is to grow and develop young men and to make them leaders in life. And I'd like to thank him for that, because he taught me that lesson and has served me well in my profession. So I'd like to thank him. Second is my brother, Clay Helton. Had an opportunity to work for him at USC for 2 years. As you know, he's the head coach there. I learned a tremendous amount of information. He took me under his wing, allowed me into the life of a head football coach. I took tremendous knowledge away from him. I learned how to be a leader. I learned how to treat people. I learned how to value everybody from the bottom to the top, that there is no small person or big person, that we are all in it together. And he taught me a tremendous amount working for him. I'd like to thank June Jones. He taught me that the game of football is fun, that it is always fun, and we got to enjoy it because it is hard. And so enjoy the game of football. And he was a guy that he was pretty loose, but he instilled in me that, this game is meant to be fun, and it's meant to do things that is special to people, and don't lose sight of that. And I learned that from him. Another man that I truly, truly respect. I wouldn't be sitting up here today if it wasn't for Jeff Brom and the opportunities that he gave me. I was a young coach, and he gave me an opportunity to be an offensive coordinator. And a lot of the things that we were able to accomplish, Jeff and I worked at UAB together 1 year, and I can remember a lot of conversations that we had about what we would do with an offense if it was our show. And a lot of the things that we were able to accomplish here at Western Kentucky came from that starting point there. And he was tremendous for me in my career. And he's basically given me the opportunity here to come back and to take this to another level, and I truly thank him. There's a lot of other coaches that have been a part of my life that I can't name today, but I would like to name two more. Phillip, Fulmer, and Jeromy Pruitt. The year that I spent with them at University of Tennessee was invaluable. They are true professionals. Coach Fulmer was tremendous for me. Gave me a lot of insight, a lot of wisdom that he had shared with me of his coaching career. And I'm going to take that on to the next level here at Western Kentucky as your head coach. And I'm in debt to him. He was tremendous for me. And then Jeromy Pruitt taught me so much about how to develop players that have attention to detail. And he's going to do great things at the University of Tennessee. Was tremendous for me, and I was honored to work for him for the year that I was there, and wish him the best of luck. But want to thank those individuals. But I know I'll probably get long-winded, but I want to get to why did I come back to Western Kentucky? And I know I hit on a couple of those things, but when you get an opportunity to be a head football coach, you want to say, can you go to a place that can be successful? And obviously we've been successful here, but it's about winning championships at the end of the day, And I felt like Western was at a place where we could take it to new heights. We had been at a certain level, but the opportunity to take it to a whole nother level, get back to a championship mentality, that was special for me. And I wanted to take advantage of that opportunity. And obviously Todd and President Camboni have done that, and that's great. The second was the community. I think this is the best community in America. I've lived all over the world. I've lived in Hawaii, Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas. You name it, I've been coast to coast. And I enjoyed Bowling Green, Kentucky more than anywhere else I've lived, and so has my family. So to have the opportunity to come back to a special community that is unique says a lot about the people here, and I can't wait to embrace that and be a part of the community once more. We live in the great state of Kentucky. It is a fabulous state. It is filled with tremendous talented players. Sports are important here, and when you're a football coach, that's an important thing. You need to live in a state where they back you. They want you to be successful. And Western Kentucky University is a flagship institution for the state of Kentucky, and that's another reason why I wanted to get back here. And lastly, we have people that are committed to winning here, to do the right things. I had an opportunity to meet a couple of minutes ago some of the coaches that currently coach here in other sports, and you can just see the genuineness in those people, that they want you to be successful. And obviously Todd's been here for a while, and he's done tremendous things. And so it's the people that make you successful, and that's really why I wanted to get back here again. My vision. What is my vision for our players, for our team? First of all, it's not about championships, it's about developing champions. And that's what I want to do for our players. I mentioned earlier that we are teachers as coaches, we are educators. I want first and foremost our men to graduate from this four-year institution, to be leaders in the community. It is my job as the head football coach to make sure that happens. I'm not here just for wins in this community. I'm here to develop young men, to get them to where they want to go, and to make them better people. And what they want to do in life, I want them to be able to go lead and know that they have the confidence to be successful. And that's my role and responsibility as the head football coach here, and I want that for our players. The other thing is I want our players to develop spiritually and in the community. I think that is very important for their growth. I think a lot of times you get focused on one thing, and that's football. And they need to learn that there's other things outside of the athletics and academics, and if they're going to be true leaders in the community and in life, they have to get around other people that they've never been around before. And that's what a university and an institution is about, and I want them to grow in that area. So I will take on that responsibility as well. As far as my vision for our program, I've pretty much hit on most of that, but I want to come back to an exciting brand of football. I really do. When I was here, the fans never sat down. They were always standing up, and everybody was hooting and hollering, and that's my goal here. I want to get back to that brand. I want every time we throw that football down there, everybody takes a deep breath and goes, oh, my God, here they go again. All right? If I'm going to be criticized, I want to be criticized for taking chances and trying to make plays. I don't want to be criticized for being conservative. Let's try to go win games, getting after people and being aggressive. So I want to put an exciting football team on the football field first and foremost. And it's all three phases. It is all three phases. I want our fans to know that when our football team takes the field, that they have something special out there representing this community, representing this institution. Because that's our job as a football team. It's to market our institution and give it an opportunity to showcase what we're all about. And that's what I want for this football team. I want us to be cutting edge in everything we do. I felt like when I was here before, we did things that not a lot of people did. People flew in on 747s to come learn what we were doing. I want that to happen again. I want to be on the front of everything. I want to be creative. And I think that's how you win football games. I want to have an outstanding staff that are excellent recruiters, that are excellent educators, and that is my promise to you. We will have a staff that are fine men, they are family men, they will represent this institution extremely well, and they will develop our players. Last and foremost, and it's the most important thing, win the Conference USA Championship. That's what we're here to do, is to win the Conference USA Championship, and that's our goal every single year. And then lastly, to finish, is we need to be in the national conversation. That's what we need to be. No matter what's going on, they need to be talking about WKU football. Western Kentucky Hilltopper football. We need to be sound bites all over America. And we were at one time, and we will be again. So I want to get us back in the national conversation. With that being said, that's kind of me. That's kind of where I'm going. I'm going to answer some questions here, and then I'm going to go downstairs and get going in recruiting and putting together a football team that we need to be successful next year. So, again, thank you very much. I'm honored to be your head football coach.
Brad Stevens, Bowling Green Daily News. Tyson, how similar will this offense that you run here look to what you all ran in 2014 and 15?
It'll be very similar. The things that everybody was used to seeing, you're going to see that again. Again, I mentioned before, we need to be creative. We need to be aggressive. Again, when our fans come to the stadium, I want to put on a show for them. And it's not just on offense, it's on all three phases. And let me say this, as much as we want to talk about the offense and all that, defense wins championships. And so we are going to make sure that we put a product on the field in all three phases that follows those guidelines and do those things.
Coach Helton, Mike Clef, WBKO Television. First of all, welcome back. Second of all, you probably learned that you mentioned the people you praised, Jeff Brom being one of them. You probably know by coming back that he has officially reached godlike status here. It's a two-part question. It's a same question, but I'd like you to answer it first, Coach Helton, and then Todd, if you could as well, because in your opening statement you mentioned how you observed Jeff and Tyson at practice. Tyson, how are you similar in your mind to Coach Brom and different? Todd, from observing both, how are they similar? How are they different? Thank you.
That's a great question. Jeff and I are a lot alike as far as from the player standpoint. I think when your players know that you love them, you have their back, you're going to allow them to be the playmakers that they are, that every player has a different skill trait. And it's our job as coaches to put them in the position to showcase their talents. I felt like Jeff did a tremendous job of that. As you saw, the ball got scattered around to everybody. The running backs may be in the backfield. They may be out and empty. But he was able to put people in places to be successful. And I think we carry a lot of those skill traits as well. Where we're different, Coach, to me, we both have a hard line edge. But, Coach was one of those guys that he could look one in the eye and say, come here, and they came right now, I take a little different approach. I have a hard line edge too, but I say, hey, buddy, let me talk to you. That's my approach. But they both work extremely well. They both work extremely well. At the end of the day, if the players know that you love them, that you care for them, that you can provide tools for them to be successful, they'll run through a wall for you. And that's what I learned from Jeff, and we'll continue that here.
Yeah, and I would reiterate really a lot of what Tyson said. I mean, I have the utmost respect for Jeff Brom as a coach, and he is a good friend. I mean, he is a tremendous individual. I see incredible number of similarities between the two of them. I mean, on the football side, both incredibly creative, innovative, put a style of play out there that players love to be a part of. They get excited about being a part of. I talk to our former players, and they talk about how exciting the entire week was once they learned the game plan because they knew what Saturday would be. They're similar in that they truly care about their players' lives away from football. They both truly care about the players that they coach. And I think they're similar in that they're both tremendously devoted to their families. They're great husbands and they're great fathers. There's a lot of similarities.
Coach, you mentioned Dalton Godby, by the way, WBKO TV. You mentioned having a explosive offense. With the roster that you have now, do you feel like you can accomplish that with the tools that you have? And if not, what weapons do you need to acquire?
Well, we're going to, right after this, that's what I mentioned about, I'm going to evaluate our current roster. I'll be up, probably won't sleep tonight, but I'll evaluate our current roster. I'll evaluate who we're recruiting to bring in. I had an opportunity to visit with our team prior to coming up here, and I love the look in their eye. I really do. I've been very blessed to be on a lot of teams and address teams, and you get a feel immediately what is the demeanor in the room. And I saw a bunch of guys that were ready to go win, ready to go work, that were excited. I saw a lot of familiar faces that were here right before I left, that I know what they can and can't do. So to partially answer your question, I'm excited about what's in that room. At the end of the day, we'll have to get on the road recruiting and add to what we have. But I think initially we're off to a good start. I really do. And we'll be able to get done what we need to get done.
Tyson, Matt Foster with WNKY TV. I know some of these guys on this roster you actually recruited yourself, so how much are you looking forward to finally getting to coach those guys that you brought to the Hill?
Yeah, it's a unique experience to be able to now, be in charge of those guys, and I'm looking forward to that. When I left, a lot of those guys were young. I told them this. I said, hey, you guys were young cats when I left. Now you're old salty dogs, So, I got to get there with them and get to coaching them and find out how much they've progressed. But they're good young men, and I was excited when I had an opportunity to recruit them, and now I'm really excited to coach them as well.
Coach, right here, Elliot Pratt, Bowling Green Daily News. Just Todd
Elliot,
Stewart.
where are you at?
Right here, bud.
Okay. Sorry. There you go.
There we go. Hey, Todd was talking about you're just a better version of yourself this time around than even in 2014-15. What did you learn specifically at USC working with your brother Helton? You mentioned the head coaching style of things, but just overall getting better as a football coach. What did you learn from him and just at USC in general?
Well, I tell you what, first of all, I think my brother is the finest man alive. I mean, I have tremendous respect for him. He is a great leader. He's a great educator. When you meet him, it takes you about 30 seconds to realize, man, this is a great person. This is a fine man. And I learned that with players, they see that too. They know immediately what they're dealing with. You can't fool anybody. They know when you walk in a room whether you're genuine or not. And when my brother Clay walked into a room, he had immediate respect by the players, and there was a lot of love there. And so I learned that. I learned the leadership side. I learned the respect of your players is a tremendous part of winning. Obviously, to go to a place like USC and to compete at that level, and to experience, also the media market side of that. You're talking about one of the largest media markets in the world, and to be able to handle that. There's all those life experiences that you learn when you go to a new place. And so I picked up a tremendous amount of knowledge there. And then, again, going to Knoxville, I think it's very comparable. And the people there were great, and that media market is a large one as well as far as the support of that program. And so it was, I would say the time I left here and now coming back, the knowledge that I've been able to gain will serve me tremendously moving forward here.
Todd, how important were maybe the positive comments, guys like Forrest Lamp, Mike White, Brandon Dowdy, how much the things they said about Tyson really have an influence on your decision?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they told me. And I mean, the time when they were here and really that 2013, 2016 time frame, I mean, that was a special time. And I think the people that were here, all of us that were associated with the program, formed a bond, just because of how special that time frame was. And I talk to those guys all the time. And, when you talk to a Forrest Lamp and a Mike White and a Brandon Dowdy, who I do about a lot of things, and they have shared things with me and pointed things out to me that have proven to be incredibly accurate before we even talked about Tyson. And so I have a lot of confidence in them, and I believe in them. And when they told me, what their own personal thoughts were about Tyson and what his impact was on them personally, in addition to our team, it just gave me even more confidence than what I already had, because when people like that are impacted the way that they were, I know that's the kind of impact he'll have on our future players as well.
Coach, what are your plans with the current coaching staff? Do you plan on keeping some of those guys around or bringing in some new faces?
I'll be short with that answer, but I do, not too long ago, I was an assistant coach at UAB, and that staff had transition, and I was sitting in a room in the same spot. I didn't have a job, and I was wondering where do I go, and that's a tough feeling to have. There's great coaches everywhere where you go. I was very fortunate to be retained there, and I, again, learned a lot of life lessons from that experience. So I think you have to evaluate where you are as a program. Again, there's great coaches everywhere you go, and if something's not broke, don't try to fix it. So what I would like to do is I'd like to visit with everybody and get their take and their input. I can't answer that question fully, but if there's good quality coaches, that I will recognize that. And at the end of the day, though, we have to do what's best for this program to get us to the championship level that we want to be at.
Coach Lucas Albert at the Courier-Journal in Louisville. You talked a little bit about your time at USC and what you learned there. Is there anything in particular you learned in your one season at Tennessee that kind of stuck with you?
I learned a tremendous at Tennessee. I think, number one, I like, again, I go back to Coach Pruitt. I really do. He's developing a football team there as well, and they're trying to build a championship quality team. And I learned a lot from his experience there, and he's doing so many things the right way, and just developing the players and having attention to detail, and knowing that, hey, even when you have a tough job, it's still getting back to the basics. It's still about, it's not always the X's and O's. It's about taking care of the football. It's about tackling and being sound with your techniques and all those kind of things. So really that year at Tennessee, I came away with that experience. And that's why I'm very excited for them moving forward, and I'm excited for Coach Pruitt. Today is about Western Kentucky, and so I'm going to just keep it at that. But really enjoyed my time there, and it's a tremendous institution as well.
Mike Cleft, WBKO. My late stepdad, who was a college administrator, said, never ignore a university president. So this question is for Dr. Caboni. Also, one of his big sayings in life was, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I listened to your statement, Dr. Caboni. I mean the first 30 seconds that you met Coach Helton and visited with him and listened to him. What was your initial thoughts?
Here's somebody who cares about young people and their success, who understands what winning is about, is going to put an exciting product on the field, and that's exactly where we need to go.
Jeromy Chisenhall, College Ice Herald. Todd, you mentioned that you had a short list, and that, every AD does. How high up was Tyson on that list, and how did you guys manage to get this deal done so quickly?
Well, the circumstances were a little bit different, but the process was honestly very similar to 2012. In that year, Willie Taggart was our head coach and was doing a great job. And we hoped that he would be here for many years after that. But he had indicated that he was going to wait until that season finished before we would talk about a possible new contract. So our first goal and our hope was certainly that Coach Taggart would be here for many years. But because of the uncertainty there, we had to have a plan B and a plan C in case he wasn't here. And I think that happens, it should happen. I think it does happen at a lot of places. It's just like running a company. It's if you're in the military, you have to have contingency plans. You have to spend a lot of time on things just in case. And many times the time you spend on things turns out not to be needed, but that's okay. I mean, it's better to spend time on something and not need it than not spend the time and then be behind the eight ball. So in 2012, we had a plan in case Willie stayed, and then we had a plan in case Willie left. And that plan involved a lot of research and a lot of vetting of candidates, of which Bobby Petrino was the #1 guy on the short list. So even though Coach Taggart left on a Friday night and we introduced Coach Petrino on a Monday, that process of identifying him started long, long before that. This year was very similar. Now, like I said, the circumstances were a little bit different, but it wasn't trending in the right direction. I mean, I don't think that that's a great secret. It's been real chronicled. It just wasn't, it was just consistently not going in the direction that we needed to for a variety of factors. But it really kind of became more and more apparent as we went on that we might need to make a change when the season was over. So, the process of what to do if that happened began long before this weekend. Now, in the case of Tyson, the fact that he was here, for 2 years, and I was with him almost on a daily basis then, there was a level of familiarity there that certainly wasn't there, and with other people, and he was the number one guy. And so the whole process of preparing to make a move, because he was here, was made much easier. And he was the number one person. So when you identify somebody as the number one person, and then you begin discussions with them, and it's validated that they should remain your number one person, and they are as equally interested in you, to me, there's no reason to prolong it and to waste other people's time and extend it out. So that is really the overall view, I guess, of how we got to this point on Tuesday.
Matt Stahl, College Heights Herald. Is there any specific players on this roster you're particularly excited to coach?
There's familiar faces. I'm extremely excited to coach all of them. Again, addressing the team today, I saw a lot of good-looking faces, a lot of guys that looked like they're ready to get to work. I did see familiar faces, guys that I recruited. I probably won't name any names, but you guys know who was here when I was here. I'm just excited to develop the team and to put a brand of football back on the field that we're used to seeing and having a championship quality football team. And I think we got the basic foundation there to go do that. And I do think it's an advantage that I do know some of those guys, so that gives me a head start in that process. I do know how they tick a little bit. Where a new coach coming in, he might have to figure all those things out. So I'm looking forward to working with the ones that were in that room today for sure.
Coach Helton, Todd mentioned in his press conference on Sunday about the disappointment and the lack of fan support. What has to be done to get the community and the students to get that support back to where it was at its highest?
Right. Well, that's my job, starting with me, and our team's job. I always feel like every year is a new year. Everybody's excited about the football season. Everybody thinks it's going to be their year. So it's my job when the fans come to watch us play that we put that brand of football out there immediately. Somebody's excited, aren't they? They're ready to roll. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the job of a head coach and the job of the football team to the fans are going to come. They're going to be intrigued by, okay, what are you going to do? Let me see kind of what's your deal. So I know this community very well, and it's a football community. They stand behind the Hilltoppers now. There's not one person in this community that's not going to come watch us and to see if we're putting a brand of football out there that they like. And the rest is on me and our team to go make it happen.
Tyson, when you met with the team this morning, what was your message to them?
I told them, guys, I'm not going to give you a bunch of championship speeches right now. It's really an opportunity for me to look you in the eye. I told them, doing this for as long as I have and being able to address different teams, I can tell pretty quickly that you guys are ready to work. You guys are ready to do what it takes to win. I saw a lot of excitement in that room. I talked to them about finishing strong academically, making sure that we do that. I talked to them about when they come back. I said, first, hey, enjoy the holidays and come back refreshed and know that when we get started here, there's going to be a staff that's ready to roll and we're going to get to work. And I saw a lot of men that really responded well to that statement, so it made me feel good as well.
Tyson, can you describe like the last 72 hours? I mean, you're coaching your final game of the season Saturday, and then 2 days later you're here and you're introduced today. What kind of whirlwind has it been like for you?
Well, Kyle Nees almost put makeup on me because I have dark circles all under my eyes. But Not a lot of sleep, obviously, but that's the life of a football coach. But, you know, I have a tremendous family. My wife is unbelievable, and she does a lot for me. So, you know, everything happens in God's time, and this process for me has been very seamless. And I think it was something that was meant to be. I know that, you know, it was a season that ended fast, and then you have a quick turnaround and all those things, but you couldn't ask for a better start to me sitting here right now.
Sorry, this is for Coach. I had to move back here. I've got to do a live cut in a moment. But, Coach, you mentioned all the people that have influenced your coaching career. What is the common thread that they've advised you about being a head coach for the first time?
You know, man, that's a tricky one. But I think the biggest thing about I've taken away, I don't know if it's been advising, it's more of my observation of them as head coaches. I thought they were all very patient with the decisions that needed to be made. I think sometimes as a head coach, you know, you're excited and you know, you try to make a lot of quick decisions, and you can make some bad choices doing that. You have a game plan in place, which I do. I know what I want to get done today. I know what I want to get done tomorrow. I know what I want to accomplish this week. And, you know, so you have that game plan. And at the same time, you have to be patient and not anxious to go conquer the whole world in 1 week. So I took that away from them, the really good ones, the men that I talked about. That's probably the thread of most common with them was a lot of head coaches make those mistakes early on. And, you know, if you sit back and you work hard and let things come to you, it'll happen. And so that's probably what I took most of all. Guys, again, one more time, I want to thank you so much. I'm blessed and honored to be your head football coach. Thank you.
Great work.